This is the Griffin Podcast, episode number 98. We continue in our seller plan, and the subject is your listing price. Why does the wrong asking price hurt you? Are you a home seller or buyer who has questions about selling or buying residential property? Or maybe you're an agent who needs a plan, but you can't seem to find an easy way to get your answers? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of The Griffin and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, if you're a seller, buyer, or agent, you can take advantage of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin courses.com. All right, let's get started. We're in our seller plan. So if you're new to the Griffin podcast, we have 3 plans that we believe you need to take advantage of: seller, buyer, and agent. So we continue in the seller plan talking about your listing price if you're a seller. Why does the wrong asking price hurt you? So the first point in here is that any market environment has buyer shopping. We want to just start off with that because as a seller, you're always asking, is this the right time to sell? Are there any buyers out there? So let's just get that off the table right away. There are always buyers. I've been in this business long enough to see multiple major corrections in the real estate industry. Major, really the Great Recession, and when the stock market collapsed, and then the next thing you know, we have this later on, this massive collapse in default on Wall Street because of mortgage-backed securities, because of poor lending criteria. But there were always buyers, and there were always buyers during those times at whatever level. Entry-level pricing, luxury pricing. It's easy to go look up the data from any of the years and see there were multiple properties sold. So what that means is, what's most important to you as a seller is, why are you thinking about selling right now or in the near future? I even say it in the beginning of this podcast. If you're a seller thinking about selling now or in the near future, you can take advantage of our seller plan, because a plan just helps you navigate whatever choppy waters there might be out there. And if you know how to prepare your property and in the right way, then you're going to attract buyers. Now, of course, there are better times to sell when there's a scarcity of listings and your property's designed to win, meaning you've gone through the whole seller plan and you have the condition right and the staging right and the marketing takes effect. Sure, there are better times. But what does that have to do with you and the life decision that you're involved in, right? If you have to sell and you want to sell and you're motivated somewhere around a 9 to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, then stop worrying about what else is happening out there. Get planned up correctly and win the game. So that brings us to the next point. Being even a few percentage points outside your true value, it's going to decrease that buyer traffic. And that includes in a hot market. I think when people go to list their property, and especially in a hot market, they think they can just make up the asking price. Well, that house down the street is listed at this, so it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't. How do I know that as an expert? After doing this for a long time, multiple decades now, seeing these ups and downs, there are expired listings in every type of market. A lot of people, because we specialize in helping people whose listing has expired, so we find them really, they're baffled that this is the hottest market that there's been in 10 years. How come I didn't sell? We look at a lot of different factors, but you can look pretty quickly at the price and say, well, you're outside the range. Well, I thought, well, you can't just think. You need a plan. And the first part of that plan talks about what math is there from big data. If we pull the big data, the solds, the assessed values, we run through an analysis, we can have a reasonable guesstimate of what the range is. Now, if your house is properly conditioned, properly staged, you've been maintaining it, it's there, then you're going to be able to cheat to the highest end of what the math suggests. And maybe a little beyond if the market's white hot and there's very little inventory. Maybe. But it's very scientific. You don't just make this up. This isn't just like throwing a blindfolded dart at a wall and coming up with a price. As I say, it's not pricing it right bingo. There's a system to this. And if you miss it by even a few percentage points, regardless of a good market, then you're going to find yourself hearing nothing but tumbleweeds rolling down the street, meaning no buyer traffic, no agent traffic, nothing. And don't go blame that on the realtor. I mean, I understand if the realtor didn't have a plan and didn't suggest it to you, or worse, they just yesed you on your price, okay? I'll challenge my fellow realtors. Don't do that. Don't do that. Have a serious discussion about where the market's at based on real data. Because if you miss it, then you're going to be blaming somebody other than the strategy that was used. The next point here, and the final point, is don't think, in addition to making the mistake on the wrong asking price, that an agent is just going to bring you an offer. So you have to understand that since no agent is just going to bring you an offer when you're overpriced, you have to adjust your price to be competitive. And we go through this process with our sellers all the time. We have sellers that have cheated to the high end of the range because there were circumstances, but they understand if the traffic is zero, we have an instant problem. If it's really slow traffic, we still have a pricing it right problem, and we make an adjustment. And when we do, we're not giving it away. That's an absurdity that sellers seem to say. It's an insecure positioning, as if you're going to give your house away. Look at folks, the only way you can give your house away is take the deed, sign it over to whomever, and say, here are the keys. It's free. So that cognitive distortive language, I'm not going to give it away. Get rid of it. It's just killing you, and you're getting defensive about the reality of the situation. Now, a good competitive strategy with good feedback from your agent can keep you very competitive, and you're going to max out what you'll get for that property with a good strategy. But if you're sitting there just saying, well, just get me an offer, that's also inaccurate thinking and dangerous. You're resisting what the real problem is, the wrong asking price. And by the way, I'm going to tell you who just gives you an offer. People like me, okay? Experts like me, savvy buyers like me, that when I see somebody out there, whether I'm representing a buyer, I'm trying to buy something for myself, I am looking for the absolute best deal. And I often believe that finding the best deal, okay? Now, I'm telling you this as an insider in the business, okay? I'm telling you. And it's not about taking advantage of anybody. If a seller is stubborn enough to put the wrong asking price and still has a motivation, I'm going to come in, having done my math, and I know that I'm going to be making an offer and presenting the math as to why I'm making it without any competition. So you're allowing me or my buyer to come in and negotiate with you in what's called a scientific vacuum, an empty space. There's no competition for us. Now, you might get insulted, you say to yourself, and you might say, well, I wouldn't sell it to you anyway. Okay, but somebody who's severely motivated and needs the cash is going to discount and sell because I just brought them an offer. Is that what you really want as a seller? Or do you want my best advice to my sellers? And that is, price this correctly. Why? Because when you do, you attract more buyers. Because what you're trying to do with the asking price is not give it away. You're trying to inch it towards where the actual marketplace is for your property at that moment in time. That's the way it works. Try to give it away. Okay? I'm going to tell you, I've also done that technique in real estate during the recession. When the recession was really collapsing the real estate market, we went to an auction method where we took the price after looking at the math, but knew the market was dropping. We cut it in half and we bid from the bottom up. So in the recession, we had lines down the street with people coming to see our properties, bidding them up. Now, if that wasn't enough for the seller to move on, at least we had a floor. We could certainly readjust our asking price and we could make a market. It was so successful in attracting buyers based on pricing that we landed a TV show. In 2014, we did 8 episodes on A&E based on a pricing it right deal. So I know what I'm talking about here. So please take my advice. Nobody's going to just bring you an offer. And if it is, it's going to be from a savvy buyer like me or my buyers that I represent. And we're going to make the case through math that you're wrong. Listen or not, Be desperate, take the offer. We have no competition. Don't put yourself there. Here's an insider telling you how to avoid that trap. Let me go back and tell you this again. Your listing price. Question on the table. Why does the wrong asking price hurt you? Well, first of all, before we even get into why it hurts you, I want you to understand that in any market environment, there are always buyers shopping. Number two, you being even a few percentage points outside your true value with your asking price decreases that buyer traffic. You're the one repelling them, not the market. Three, no agent is just going to, you're no listing agent. Don't beat your listing agent up, because none of us are just going to bring you an offer unless you want us to turn to the buyers and say, well, they're desperate for an offer. Is that what you want? Silly, right? So adjust your price to be competitive, and you're going to find that in any market, there are plenty of buyers. I'll say it this way. Many sellers don't understand how critical it is to list their property at the correct asking price in any market environment. The assumption that cheating their price to the high side is harmless is incorrect thinking. The wrong asking price decreases buyer traffic and the feedback from the buyers. You don't even get that. The hope that somebody will just bring you an offer is a poor strategy and will only encourage a savvy buyer to bring a much lower offer. Therefore, even if your asking price is incorrect to begin with, you must adjust it downwards to be competitive. And by the way, you're not giving it away by doing that. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you're a seller, buyer, or agent who wants help by getting a copy of our free step-by-step guides. They're free. They're what to do. And they're waiting for you at griffincourses.com, Griffin courses.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube, so don't forget to subscribe to The Griffin channel. We'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with home sellers and buyers or real estate agents, if you know any that need this help, and you all can get some help for free. Remember, we sign off the same way every time. Nobody's coming for you, folks. Nobody. So go get to work on your plan for buying or selling your next property or becoming a successful real estate agent, because we have a plan for all three of you. And we'll see you in the next episode to help you get prepared to do just that. Thanks.